That helps us a lot to continue to do and even do better what we're doing to serve you, our society, and indeed humanity better. It's also important for us to let you know that this conversation is recorded and is streamed live on our other social media handles, especially at NDLA01 on Facebook and, excuse me, and at NDLA TV on YouTube. You can always go back and listen to the recording and even share with others. Before we get to introduce our guest speaker today, who is already well seated on the space to make his presentation, and then we continue to interrogate and ask questions about his presentation and even share experiences. Let's remind you of some of the activities of the agency this past week in our news highlight segment, which will be taken by two of our ladies, Netta and Peace. Ladies, let's have the updates for this week. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good day to everyone, and thank you for joining us on this week's X-Space. My name is Netta Wedozier, and here are the NDFVA news highlights for the week. First, the headlines. Ex-international football player, 4 others arrested over 22.6 kilograms cocaine, meth seized at MMIA, AIIA. 72-year-old grandma, Beninese, others nabbed in NDFVA raids in Delta, Kwara, Lagos. Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDFVA, have arrested an ex-international football player, Shegun George Honkarin, along with his businessman partner, Ntoruka Emmanuel Chinedu, over attempts to smuggle a consignment of cocaine into Nigeria through the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, MMIA, Ikeja, Lagos. Chinedu, who is a frequent flyer known for conveying clothes from Turkey to Nigeria and foodstuffs from Nigeria to Turkey, was the first to be arrested upon his arrival at the Lagos airport on Tuesday, 24th June 2025. A search of his carry-on bag revealed 37 wraps of cocaine,
particularly in urban environments. Meanwhile, the Abia State Command conducted a persuasive WADA advocacy session at Divine Favor International Group of Schools, Bende local government area. Students were educated on the moral, emotional, and social damage caused by drug misuse and were inspired to uphold values of integrity, self-control, and positive peer engagement. Capping up the week's activities on Friday, 27 June, the Zone 13 Command of NDLEA conducted an empowering WADA sensitization lecture at Community Girls Secondary School, Yenagua, Bayelsa State. The event equipped female students with essential knowledge on the gender-specific impact of drug abuse and reinforced their vital role as advocates for a safe, informed, and drug-free youth community. That's the update for this week. My name is Peace, and I hand you over to our host, Mr. Femi Babafemi.
All right, thank you there, Peace. And Netta, welcome back from the news highlight segment. And let's quickly remind ourselves about some of the rules guiding our process of engagement on this program today. Please note that when we approve you to be on the speaker's corner, please ensure that you remain muted until after the presentation by our guest speaker, and then we'll start inviting individuals to ask questions, interrogate the presentation, or make contributions in few seconds. Please note that we don't encourage unauthorized interruptions. If we get any of that from you, we may likely dethrone you from the speaker's corner to just the listener's side. All right, that's that. Let's quickly also remind you about the NDLEA's call center. That's a platform where we provide psychosocial support services to those who may not have an idea of how to get support or assistance if they have issues of drugs, or who's struggling with drugs, or they are friends or family members. At the NDLEA Call Center, we have counselors, clinical psychologists, psychotherapists, and psychiatric doctors who work 24/7 every day of the week to provide support, to pick your calls, and then listen to you without judging you, without any fear of stigmatization. They'll listen to you. They'll provide assistance, support to you to ensure that you get psychosocial support service. Provide you also the teletherapy, just to ensure that in case you are afraid of being judged or being stigmatized, if you walk into a physical rehab facility, they are there to ensure that all of these are cleared off, and then to build your confidence to be able to get the needed support that you need to get treatment. That's as far as that is concerned. Quickly, let's run to formally introduce our guest speaker today, and he's no other person than Dr. Mohammed Audu, who is the Registrar of Psychotherapeutic and Counseling Research Institute, Nigeria. Indeed, Dr. Audu is a mental health counselor who has been working with victims of human trafficking, rape, substance, and emotional abuse. Apart from educational attainment up to PhD level, Dr. Audu has attended several international conferences, workshops, courses, and seminars on human trafficking, counseling, and mental health, forensic investigation and documentation of tortured and other cruelly human treatment. He has attended the Universal Treatment Curriculum for Substance Use Disorder, that's UTC 1, 2, 3, 4, and the Universal Prevention Curriculum for Substance Use, UPC, by the Colombo Drug Advocacy Plan, that's DAP. He has equally attended advanced training on drug prevention, treatment, and care, DPTC 3. He's the author of a book, The Effects of Climate Change on Mental Health. That's a mental health advocacy for climate change for all. He has written publications international and locally, as well as internationally and locally on counseling and mental health. He has also he has also facilitated a GBV project awareness and campaign material for primary and secondary students in urban and rural schools. Dr. Audu had facilitated mental health and psychosocial support training in many organizations. He was part of the National Critique on Curriculum for Health and Safety for the National Board for Technical Education, that's NBTE. Dr. Audu was also part of the National Mental Health Policy and Suicide Prevention Policy Review and Validation in 2023/2024, as well as the National Mental Health Policy Implementation Roadmap for the Federal Ministry of Health. He's a member of the African Mental Health Association in Ghana, the advisory board chairman for the Africa Suicide Prevention Association, Gambia, and a member of the International Society of Substance Use Professionals, ISOP, Nigerian chapter, as well as member of Counseling Association of Nigeria, CASON, FCT chapter. He is the current registrar, Psychotherapeutic and Counseling Research Institute, Nigeria, and the immediate past country director of Secure the Future International Initiative. It's my pleasure to formally present, and I'll urge you to please join me in welcoming Dr. Abu Mohammed Audu as I invite him to unmute himself now while we listen to him. For the next 30 minutes, thereabout, discuss our topic for today, which is trauma, mental health, and substance abuse, understanding the link, coping, and survival mechanisms. Please go ahead, Dr. Audu, with your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Babatunde. It's a pleasure to be here this evening.
Dr. Audu, Babafemi,
yes.
Before you, okay, so that somebody will not run with Babatunde. Thank you.
Thank you, Babafemi. I appreciate you, sir. Thanks for the opportunity to speak to Nigerians through the NDLEA platform. I'm not taking it lightly at all. So it's very particular that this time we need to talk about trauma, we need to talk about mental health, and also talk about substance use or substance abuse, and also linking it all together and understanding the survival mechanism as it relates to trauma, mental health, and substance abuse. First of all, we will need to understand what trauma is and understand what mental health is, then understand what substance abuse is. Then we can now relate all these informations as it concerns an individual surviving or an individual putting up a survival mechanism in order to live. So what is trauma? We need to understand what trauma is. Trauma is a deeply distressing and disturbing experience that has overwhelmed an individual's ability to cope. It can make them to feel helpless. It can make them to diminish in their sense of self, and also the ability of these individuals to fully express themselves either from a full range of emotion or experience can be deduced from trauma. Many people walk today on the street of Nigeria, Africa, even in Europe and America, Asia, walking around with a lot of trauma or walking around with trauma. We will look at the type of trauma that these people walk around with. Some of them are walking around with acute trauma. Some of them are walking around with chronic trauma, some with complex trauma, and some of them even walking with secondary or vicarious trauma. So I will explain them in bits so that we can understand this and also link it that a lot of people have put in place today for themselves. Number one, which I said, acute trauma. This can result from a single accident. For instance, somebody had an accident while driving, or a natural disaster occurred or somebody assaulted them, they can now develop a trauma. And before you know it, they now try to think or see how they can cope strategically with that trauma. Number two, we have the chronic trauma. Chronic trauma is a repeated and a prolonged exposure to highly stressed events. It can be as a result of abuse, domestic violence, even war can cause chronic trauma. Like the people in the south, northern Nigeria, like the northeast, north central, north west, Zamfara, Sokoto, Kebbi. These people experience violence of kidnapping and all sorts. We can categorize them as having chronic trauma. Then we look at the complex trauma. This is the exposure of a multifaceted trauma or traumatic events that often invade an interpersonal nature. So, a lot of people walk around with this trauma because they have seen it all, they have found it all. This is hitting them, that is hitting them. They do not even know what else to do. It becomes so confusing at this stage. Complex trauma. And the secondary trauma I mentioned, or the vicarious trauma, is that a lot of people walk on the streets with emotional distresses that they experienced from, a hearsay, a first-hand trauma experience. For instance, an accident happened on the street, you just saw it and you cannot sleep again. You cannot, do some of these things that you like to do. This is a vicarious trauma. How does this trauma affect us as individuals? It can affect us emotionally, physically, and cognitively, even behaviorally. It can affect us. And that is where you see that people now start to create or find, solace with the use of substance. When it affects them, trauma affects them emotionally, they now begin to have anxiety, they have depression, they begin to have anger issue. Then if you look at it, they begin to present some physical, symptoms, which comes like the aspect of fatigue, chronic body pain, and so on and so forth. Then the cognitive aspect we need to look out for is the memory issue. They have concentration issue, they have difficulty in concentration, and they cannot concentrate to achieve a particular goal or desire. Then the behavioral aspect, which is the crux of our discussion here today, which is the use of substance as a coping mechanism. Some of them, when they face this trauma, they begin to withdraw from the society. They begin to withdraw from social activities, the things they used to do before that they enjoy. They withdraw from it. Then the behavioral aspect now set in. They now begin to take, this substance for them to cope with the trauma. Now, let's look at the word mental health. The word mental health is not the absence of physical health. As such, mental health can refer to a person who has, or I will say, it refers to a person's emotional, psychological, and social wellness or well-being. When they get to be affected, or when these individuals get to be affected in this part of their life, the emotional, issues with how they think, how they feel, and how they act. As such, they now can be predisposed to how they handle stress, how they relate to other people, and how they try to make decisions. As such, mental health is the crux of even the physical health. Because if you are mentally sick, no matter how much medication you try to take in your body, it won't work for you. So research has proven that from 70 to 80%, talk therapy has worked in the life of human, and from 30 to 20%. So the importance of mental health that people do not understand by the day is that they tend to abuse other people's mental health and also abuse their own mental health by the use of substances can be used. But to our mental health, we need to look at the mental health. It is essential for our day-to-day living, equally good for us because and it even enhances our relationship. But when we have poor mental health, it leads to disorders. We can break down with depression, we can break down with anxiety, and even break down with substance use, and even suicidal thoughts could come into us. And there are a lot of factors that, can influence our mental health. I am going somewhere. I'm giving us a background. So a lot of factors are there to influence our mental health. We have them like the biological factor, them like the life experiences, we have them like the family history, we have them like the social and environmental factors. About the biological factors, we are talking about the genetic part of the human, the brain chemistry, and the wiring of our body, which can be passed through parental passage. And when we talk about life experience, we are talking about trauma, we are talking about abuse, and we are talking about loss. So family history, when you hear some people who they used to go bad or they used to have issues, so family history, it could be a problem. And again, you could see societal or social and environmental factor contributing to a very significant of poverty, because of discrimination, because of isolation. So when we're reading the news the other time, we can see that the young man who trafficked because of his wedding, maybe he was financially pressed, and now he's trafficked substance because of poverty or one reason or the other. So mental health is not merely the absence of mental illnesses. Mental health is not merely the absence of mental illnesses. So it could include the presence of positive characteristics such as the ability to enjoy life. Some people are mentally unstable and they still enjoy life. They can adapt to change and they can maintain the sense of purpose. However, let us look at substance abuse before we now start our class, our discussions. Abuse, what is it that we classify as substance abuse? Is the harmful and hazardous use of psychoactive substances, including alcohol, illicit drugs, and non-medical purposes. All this can be used for even non-medical purposes. As such, the negative effects they have on this person's physical health, mental health, and social functioning is what we are going to be looking at as the link between mental health, substance abuse, and the whole topic, we are talking about trauma. So, as an important personality, an individual full of energy, why do you have to be doing substance? You need to understand that there are key characteristics of substance abuse, which I will be mentioning. Number one of it is using substance in a way that is not intended or prescribed. A lot of people go to the pharmacist or hospital. Some of them are even hospital workers. They now go take these medications out and use it in the way that is not intended, in the way that is not prescribed, taking more doses than recommended. I was having an interaction with someone, and he told me, I take different types of pills daily. And I looked at him. You take different types of pills daily. For what reason? I just take like Sodrex, I take Tusampenite, I take this one. You are abusing this substance. You are abusing this medication. So, number two key characteristics that we need to look out for is the continuous use despite negative consequences. You are taking this substance and you are having kidney issues, you are having liver issues, you are having palpitations in your heart, but still yet you are not bothered. Despite these negative consequences that happen in your life or in your body at that moment, producing health issues, problem at work, problem at school, broken relationship, but they don't see it. These are characteristics that are attached to substance use. Number three of it is the loss or lose of control over frequency, the frequency or amount of use. They now get addicted. They now are in that tolerance level where they continue to use frequently without, gauging the amount of use. Substance use can make, an individual, frequent substance use, an individual can develop tolerance. And when an individual develops tolerance, addiction has set in. And when addiction sets in, risk behaviors that are associated with substance use are bound to happen, like driving, under the influence of drugs and so on, or, having, extramarital or sexual relationship unprotected. You will have issues, a whole lot of issues when you are, given into substance as a result of trauma. Remember that trauma can lead to, substance use, and even mental health issues can lead to trauma. Mental health issues can lead to, the use of substance. There are common abuses of substance that we need to look at. The commonly abused substances are alcohol, tobacco or nicotine, cannabis, marijuana, prescription drugs like opioids, sedatives. We have cocaine, heroin, methamphetamine, amphetamine, DMA or MDMA, and ecstasy. There are a lot of them. The ones that in the nomenclatures, the names are now changing, that even some of the test machines can't even dictate now. So the use of substance or illegal use of substance has even tasked our scientists to begin to develop sophisticated test machines. Let's look at the consequences of this substance abuse. It can cause you health problems. It will damage your liver. You have heart disease. You have brain damaging issues. The tissues in your brain will damage, and you know that when the brain tissues get to be damaged, they do not regenerate again. The brain tissues are not like the tissues in our body. Once they die forever. So, and one is at the risk of having infectious diseases like HIV, hepatitis, and many other types of diseases that are attached to the use of substance. Then the aspect of these consequences we want to look at very clearly is the mental health disorders that are attached to it. Many people, as a result of using substance, let's look at the cheapest of all, cannabis, marijuana. If you have 100 naira, you go and buy it. But you do not know the amount of damage you are causing to your brain. Marijuana is termed as a classless, substance. It does not have class. It's neither a depressant or a stimulant. And when we begin to take this, it has a damaging effect on our brain. It can cause us to be depressed. It can cause us to face anxiety. It can cause us to be schizophrenic. And remember, marijuana has a trace for an easy, platform for an individual to be schizophrenic. It can tamper with the cells in your brain. It can tamper with the neurotransmitters in the brain. And when an individual is schizophrenic and is untreated, psychosis is bound to begin to brew in an individual, in an individual's life. These are the consequences. Let's look at the social issues that will be affecting an individual who is taking substance, like family conflict, loss of job, because you give in your time to this substance. I have had cause to have even policemen doing substance to help them. They will leave their duty post and go into the bunker where they continue to take substance. They forget that they are even on duty. In the recent times, I was invited by a DPO of a police station here in Abuja, and I met the ASP, a 32 years old ASP who has the prospect of becoming a DIG or even an IG. And this guy has given all his life to substance. And one day the DPO arrested him and he had to lock him because he has become something else. He has had conflict with his family because they bought him a car, he sold it. He bought another car himself, he sold it. He has issues with his job. Now that the DPO has started locking him inside cell with criminals, he has a job issue. Then you have legal troubles. You can go and destroy street lights, destroy government property, even kill somebody on the street under the influence of substance. And that will become a big consequence for an individual. Let's look at the difference between the use of substance and the abuse of substance. Some people will say, me, I'm just a user. I don't abuse it. I just use it whenever I feel I want to relax. I just use it whenever I feel I need to have, catch up with fun, around me. Now, just listen to me. When you use substance, you can use it for recreational purpose or medicinal purpose. That is within the framework or the control limit that is prescribed. Thank you. You have used it. But when you abuse substance, you are involving in the pattern of use without over the limit of use. You are now beginning to harmfully use this substance, and it becomes a behavior to you. I take 10 paracetamol, and you think it is curing your headache. My brother, my sister, that's not it. It does not cure your headache. Rather, it is causing you issue in your liver, because your liver is struggling to digest this substance. It is causing you issue in your kidney, because your kidney is suffering to filter all that is supposed to go out. So when we have an early intervention on the use of this substance, like counseling, treatment program, support system, and even the preventing substance use or abuse from developing into addiction, that we can say we are using substance. But when we have little or no control on the amount of substance we use, then definitely we have issue with abuse. So let's talk about the link now. In this aspect, we'll be exploring the connection between trauma, mental health, and substance use. Now, trauma can be a single event. It can be a recurring event. Definitely. The brain is responsive to trauma. The brain can be impaired emotionally. The brain is designed to regulate and make decisions for us. But when people who experience trauma often turn to use substance like alcohol, cannabis, opioids to manage these experiences that they have been overwhelmed with, or the emotions that they have been overwhelmed with, or the flashbacks that they have had in the time past that is resurfacing, then mental health issues begin to set in because of the consequences of untreated trauma. So when we have an untreated trauma, we're expected to have a link between these three major topics or statements that we are discussing today. Let's look at the co-occurring disorder or the cycle, the risk cycle of these three factors we are putting into consideration. Many people do not know that trauma can give birth to mental health issues, while mental health issues can give birth to substance use issues. Vice versa, the table can turn in these three different ways. It could be that one is, traumatized, start taking drugs, one has mental health issues and start taking drugs, or one is taking drugs and have mental health issues, or one is taking drugs and have trauma. Now, the co-occurring disorder that we're talking about here is we're talking about issues that can come along with mental health issues or substance use issues. These are kind of conditions that we put ourselves as a result of the intake of substance. For instance, when we say the co-occurring issue is happening logical aspects, we are dealing with the mental aspect of your life, and we now discover that we are dealing with kidney issues as a result of the use of substance. Because many people who take this substance do not even drink enough water. So when you see them, they begin to emaciate, they begin to look pale, they don't even eat well. The body nutrition is not, there that can make them to even look healthy. And don't tell me that we have some people, taking substance and they are looking healthy, they are eating well. They can never live healthy because one of these major issues would have been catching up with them. So the effort of NDLEA to sensitize the general public in the aspect of, trauma, substance use, and mental health cannot be overemphasized. As such, many people work with PTSD today as a result of the use of alcohol because they cannot sleep. I have had situations of, helping people who will meet me and tell me they cannot sleep. And sometimes when I tell them that me too, I cannot sleep, they just shout, if you cannot sleep, what are we going to do to ourselves? That I cannot sleep does not make me to go and start taking substance to sleep. Yes. That you cannot sleep does not go and begin to load. One of the men working for me last week, he told me he cannot sleep. He has to go and take one cough syrup, and I told him, how many this thing spoon did you take? He said, I drank one full bottle. And I shouted, do you want to kill yourself? And you woke up this morning of substance. So let's look at the coping mechanism or the survival mechanism that's in the positive and negative coping strategies that individuals put together when they have mental health issues, when they have substance use disorder, and when they have trauma. You know, we have the negative and the positive strategy, but let's first of all look at the negative strategy. What is the negative strategy we are talking about? We are talking about the unhealthy mechanism, unhealthy strategy that we now, put in place in order to overcome trauma, in order to overcome mental health issues. Negative mechanism, which is now the use of substance to replace some of these things that happen in our life. The unhealthy talking about here is the use of drug and alcohol. Is the avoidance and denial of what is happening presently in your life. When you have something happen, shy away from it. You must not deny what is happening. There you can take cognizance of what is happening to you and proffer and look for solution. Then this third unhealthy mechanism is aggression and risk behavior. Some people will just put on a very aggressive behavior and begin to bully people around. They bully people around. Then the fourth unhealthy mechanism is the self-harm. The self-harm or suicidal thoughts. I've counseled a whole lot of people in the last 2-3 weeks that have issue of self-harm. Some of them are practitioners that even have to, put these medications together in order to take their life as a result of trauma. As a result of trauma. So, these are the unhealthy mechanisms that an individual can put in place as a negative coping mechanism. Let's look at the healthy coping mechanism that we need to put in place, which is the positive coping mechanism. Now, you must look for ways to get counseling. If you are traumatized, you must have a counselor who is learned in trauma-informed therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, to help support you in the journey of that trauma you are in. Last week, I received a call from the United Kingdom. I have counseled the young man before, and he sent me a message if I was available for a conversation, and I said yes. And he called. He said, I have a cousin sister who needs to be talked to. Upon conversation, she has bottled this trauma in her for a very long time. Thank God she has not started taking substance. She has bottled this trauma for a very long time. And as soon as we got to the breaking point where we needed to understand what is on ground, she burst into tears. She cried and cried and cried. And we have to now start, using a counseling techniques to revive her from that moment. So if you, as a traumatized individual, would know that the place of counseling is very important for you, then it is a healthy, strategy for you to adopt. Then we have the support network. We have had the case of having people who are sickle cell, who have different kind of traumas, now resulting to, I don't think I want to live for next month. I don't think I want to live for next year. Why should I have the pain I'm going through is too much? But when we get them treated, we reunite them into a support group, a peer group, a family, and a community where they belong to hear other people's testimony. So when people with substance abuse come in, we help them to, connect them to a particular group where they can have a networking ability to, re-energize themselves, to reorient themselves. That's what I am going through. Somebody is 45 years old, is still living with sickle cell and is not doing substance. Then another healthy surviving tool that you need to understand here, which is a positive, coping mechanism, is to adopt mindfulness, meditation, and breath taking, a breath grounding exercise. So it is important that we understand all this in order to focus primarily on our mental health. Then there is a part of the spirituality. We cannot underemphasize the part of spirituality, in as much as professionalism plays a very significant role in the life of an individual who is having trauma issue, who is having mental health issues, who is having substance issue. Then spirituality is always very important for us to approach. There are faith-based healing and cultural rituals that we need to, acclimatize ourselves with in order to get the perfection of our healing. So the last one I'm going to be talking about in the healthy coping mechanism is the art therapy. One of my students is writing a project on arts of therapy, the use of dance to get therapy. You may be the dancer, you may be the watcher or someone who is seeing the dancer perform. You can get healing through that, state. So art therapy can, be inculcated into you going for, some kind of shows, a night of 1,000 laughs, instead of putting yourself into the use of substance and burying yourself there forever. You may like to be, journaling your day-to-day activities. You may like to listen to music and let out, your concern, express yourself, talk to your therapist. So when you do this, you will understand that trauma, mental health issues, and substance, abuse are things that are commonly, they are there, but we can overcome them. We can make use of the moments to overcome them because we have the resources, the recovery, capital around us that will help us to build up for, further recovery. Let's look at trauma-informed care and intervention before I finish. These are links that we need to, harmonize together to bring, into fusion these three components that can help us together with the consciousness that we have through these kind of, NDLEA is putting together. Substance abuse is very significant when you really need to research. They say, tell me, show me your friends and I will tell you who you are. Show me a drunkard, a substance user, and I will tell you I will show you a person who is mentally not stable. I'll show you a person who is, who probably is using the, substance to hide the trauma that he or she has faced. So, trauma-informed care can ensure that service. A lot of people are being re-traumatized, but when they receive a trauma-informed care and intervention, like we are doing now, some persons may be traumatized, and when they hear this, they develop that strength, that inner strength. When we get to forums like this, it builds our capacity, it builds our strength to overcome some certain predicaments that we faces by the day. So trauma-informed care can ensure that that service that we are looking out for, we do not get to be re-traumatized. It helps us to develop coping mechanism, help us to get re-energized. And also, principles of this trauma-informed care is that it makes you to be in a safe space. It makes you to develop trust. Also empowers you. It makes you to collaborate and also become culturally sensitive. So, as such, when we talk about trauma-informed care, we are simply talking about the integration of treatments in order to address both mental, physical, and substance use simultaneously. Today, Nigeria is not, Nigeria should be welcoming the integrated healthcare system, where, like, an officer in NDLEA cannot just be, an officer who confiscates drugs, but can also participate in sensitizing, counseling, and also enforcing the law. By this, you have created, an encompassing community in one person, which I believe NDLEA is doing, because I have the cause to interact with a whole lot of them. So the integrated healthcare system would foster both the physical, mental health, and also substance abuse, to be holistically cared for simultaneously. I can give you a story of, someone who is under a rehabilitation facility. He was taken out of drug. In Nigeria, we do not do the systematic withdrawals. Once you get into the rehabilitation center, it's outright withdrawal. And there was no substance for him to take. After 1 week, the trauma of this young
I can stop it, I can leave it all. I can't stop it, oh, I can't stop it, oh, I lie. I can't leave it, oh, I lie. I can't leave it, oh, I lie. What goes up in my life? I can't stop it, oh, if I sit down, they do nothing. I can't leave it, oh, I lie. I don't go back until they want me. I don't go back until they buy me. kill a man. I can't live it all. I gotta open eye, like I'm still living. I go stand up, I go look for a professional help. I can't stop it all.
I am tired already. My head deep on and I don't get it. I don't want gutter water, I go fight it. Colorado, Arizona, I can't live it. I say see me son, I don't want it in this bucket. He give me son and I don't want it in the bucket. Tell me that day already got to socket. Now it's a more from my way in my pocket. My brother forget to drugs go shut in your life. Fight it, no they sit down, they do nothing. I cannot open eye, make it drugs to wound me. Even though something must to kill a man. I cannot open eye, make drugs kill me. I go stand up and go look for professional help.
Drugs, the youngest in what if you don't know. Send her to ref not from my dog. Drugs, the youngest in what if you don't know. But the man used to tell a brother, one that hard drugs can kill a brother. Save your soul, one of my life, cause if you wound you, he got my life. I know that I'm tempted to light it, but I believe I can fight it. He never say more about rehab. I'm going there not just to please her, but to heal me and to help me. Trauma, COVID, rest. I believe I can stop it for life.
I know go wait until he wants me. I know go wait until he buy me. I cannot open eye, make a drop so wound me. Even though something must to kill a man. I gotta open eye, like I'm still living. I go stand up, I go look for a professional help. Nai make a key mungu gaga. Siniful Onyara. David Jones, David. Nai Onyara. Imama. She don't want love me, so he go be tossing on the only thing when he make me high. And when he high, he go do him like he go. And he go say, I am feeling like you run. And when he run, that's when them go to talk. And when he shall let go see. In my mama want him. In papa want him. Mama wanna mo. I see you every day, you take up like a custard. I be you a man, stop trying to be fun, be so sad. When it starts, it go do you like it go. And you go say, I am feeling like you run. And when you run, that's how them go to talk. And when it's your leg, and then let go see. In my mama wanna move. In papa wanna move. Hey, mama, wanna move.
Felix King.
I was the head boy in my primary school, senior prefect and best graduating student in my secondary school, but drug abuse almost ruined my life.
I was on an average of 2 grams of cocaine per day.
I was taking 8 ampoules of pentazosine daily.
European shisha, cocaine.
I became a user, a dealer, and a gangster.
I saw other users drowning. I knew I didn't want to be like them, but I was already trapped.
My family disowned me.
My employment was terminated.
I sold my car, sold my house. I'll go out well-dressed and return shoeless, shirtless in exchange for drugs.
I was seeing things that were not real, and I once stabbed myself because I felt something crawling under my skin.
I contacted NDLEA and started therapy.
I spent 3 months in therapy.
I spent 8 months.
It's easy to relapse, but your mind has to be stronger than the cravings.
Drugs does not love you. You are not the one using drugs. Drugs are the one using you. Say no to drug abuse.
Please pay attention. It starts from the foundation. Everybody needs somebody. You turn a blind eye, care nothing less. Say it's just business, all about the money. You are so unbothered, as long as they pay. Say it's just business, all about the money. You know they're on a fast lane, but you've got business to run. So you look away the other way. Concerns you, you get low, you get juice, you land people for jail. One against drug abuse.
Don't do drugs, so. Don't do drugs, so. Don't try to. He go choke you up. He go steal your sunshine. He go shock you up. He don't kill him any use for my area. Even for your area. When you start it to stop, it not go easy. I see they drag and go. They drag you down. What I come out for my eyes, oh. When I remember all the guys, oh. When many of them kick it bucket, oh. Some cartoons forget, oh. Make we don't forget, oh. But they talk it, oh. Say, don't do drugs. I got you see body, oh. Don't do drugs. I don't push your busy body.
This message is brought to you by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA.
I can stop it, I can leave it all.
I can't stop it, oh, and then I can't stop it, oh. Leave it, oh, I like. Leave it, oh, I like. Rock go shop in my life, I can't stop it, oh. If I sit down, they do nothing. I can't leave it, oh, I like. I don't go wait until they want me. Oh, I like. I don't go wait until it buy me. Oh, I like. I cannot put I make a drop.
few minutes left to acknowledge our people and then interact, get them to talk to you, ask some questions, and then interrogate your presentation. Please go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. But I would ask, where did you people hear me last, so that I will be conscious of time?
Yes, I think where the glitch occurred was when you were talking.
Thank you for that, Mr. Femi. And so sorry, I came up and again I went into another platform, not knowing that that was not where I'm supposed to be. However, I'm here now. So, substance use can have a family history. It can have pain on the family. So if you are using substance, you have trauma, you have mental health issues, it is not only for your own self. There are people who are secondary recipients of this situation you are in. And you cannot do anything with your life positively when you use substance, when you have trauma issues, and when you have mental health issues. So, as I draw this into a logical conclusion where I was trying to talk about, motivation and community with professional engagement, we need to have a harmonization of motivated Nigerians. Motivated Nigerians who are, professionals who are able to engage in the So for us as individuals, recovery is possible because we have the recovery capitals, we have the recovery, channels, but we must make sure that in the time where we are in need of one to get recovery, we should be empathetic, we should be compassionate, we should understand and do, our due diligence in structuring a support for them instead of abusing them. You are a nonchalant, you are this, you are that. So that will help them to understand the space of recovery. That will help them, like NDLEA is doing, to sensitize people and also bring in policymakers to have influence in the decision of against substance use. So I would like to leave with this statement because a nation that is healed is a nation that is better. So I will make this quote: we heal better when we heal together as a nation. We heal better when we heal together as a nation, as a people, because an injury to one should be an injury to all. Substance use cannot just remain with you. There are people looking at you as a role model. There are people looking at you as a figure. No matter how bad you are in the society, someone is looking up to you, and that person needs to be encouraged in a positive and not a negative way. Thank you very much, and I hand it over to Mr. Femi.
All right, thank you very much there, Dr. Mohammed Audu, who has been speaking with us for more than 1 hour now. That's awesome. Until we had that glitch, and we do apologize for that. That's beyond our control here. So issues from service providers. I think in this part of the world, we understand that very well. Once again, we'd like to appreciate our guest speaker today. That's a whole lot of energy there, a whole lot of information, a whole lot of knowledge, indeed, deep knowledge shared so far by Dr. Mohammed Audu, who has been speaking with us over the past 1 hour. Thank you very much sincerely. We appreciate the time you have taken to stay with us and to share with us from your knowledge and your experience in this area. Like beyond our guest speaker, we have quite a lot of other people from across the globe. Thank you very much, everyone, for being part of the conversation today. We have Prince Steve. As much as possible, we do a collective appreciation to all of those joining us via our YouTube channel, as well as those joining us Facebook handle. Thank you very much. We appreciate all of you. But for those on X here, thank you also. And definitely we can see live and direct here. And that's why I love to appreciate Prince Steve, Sadiq Umar, Mohammed Bafo. Thank you, Prince Isaac. IRHDA, thank you very much. We also appreciate the Black Race for joining us. We also have Dr. Abdullah. Dr. Abdullah is a consultant psychiatrist at the Ahmadu Bello University Teaching Hospital, Zara. Thank you very much, Dr. Abdullah, for finding time to be part of the conversation today. We also have Professor Rosemary Ogo. Professor Rosemary Ogo is the National President of Medical Women Association of Nigeria. Thank you very much, Professor Rosemary, for always finding the time to be part of the conversation here. We have Abdul Malik Yahya. Thank you, Abdul Malik, a regular on this space. We also have Auntie Zainab. Auntie Zainab is a medical doctor. Thank you for joining our conversation. We have Elijah Ellis. Elijah Ellis is also a regular on this space. We have Carrie Obi. Carrie Obi also, I know I've seen Carrie Obi a number of times. We hope to yield the mic to you very soon to hear from you, whether your question or your interrogation or your contribution. Fodio Ahmed, that's one pen. Fodio, that's the founder of Niger State Recovery Network. Thank you, Fodio. We also have Alexandra Okoro. Thank you, Alexandra Okoro, for always being regular here. We also have Maria Ilubohi. Maria Ilubohi, also a regular and a past speaker on this platform. We have Pascal Ewebu. Pascal Ewebu is a regular on this platform, on this space. Daniel Isaiah, thank you. Euphemia, that's big there. Thank you, Euphemia. We have Niger State. We have Okosisi, that's at Oji Felix. Oh, thank you, Okosisi. We have Dr. Shandus. Thank you, Dr. Shandus. We have Obia. Thank you, Jima, Soy Whisperer NG, thank you. Adebayo Kabiru Olaide, thank you. Obia Julu, thank you. Ahamadu Babu, thank you. Awoyemi Oluwasegun, thank you. We can't recognize all of you one by one, but then as soon as we have a little space again, we'll do call and recognize some other people. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate all of you. Now, quickly, let's switch to, okay, let's have Carrie Obi. Let's have your contribution or your question or interrogation quickly. Please unmute yourself and let's hear from you. Yeah, if Carrie Obi is not ready, let's have Daniel Isaiah. Daniel Isaiah, if you are ready, go ahead. Otherwise, I'll go to our GM and start taking some of. Okay, okay, please go ahead, Daniel. Good evening.
My name is Daniel Isaiah. Pastor Daniel Isaiah. I so much learned a lot from this program tonight. NDLA should continue doing the good work they are doing. Dr. Mohammed has enlightened me a lot on this program tonight. Thank you very much. I just want to give a little contribution. Apart from those that abuse substance, we should not kind of stigmatize them if we just let's know a way of handling the situation. Some people are being stigmatized when people hear that this one is having a mental issue. Whatever those people say, the person that they accuse of having mental issues say, they will not. Those people listening to him will not take him as anything. Instead of giving that person proper attention to know where the problem is coming from. Some people run away from such kind of people. So let's see those people having mental issue as also they are also human beings. Let's try to see them as human beings and not as something to be or someone to be afraid of. So let's try to be understandable. Thank you. That's my contribution. Let's look at each other as human beings and know the way forward. Thank you all.
All right, thank you very much there, Pastor Daniel. That's a good counsel from you indeed. Thank you. You can mute yourself now. Thank you, Pastor Daniel, once again for your contribution there. Let's take this first question from DM. Okay. Jigba, thank you very much, Dr. Audu, for your brilliant and extensive presentation today. Like the person who just spoke now said, quite a lot to benefit from you today. My question is it possible for someone to be traumatized, especially in a society where silence is the norm? That's a question from Edgar. Thank you, Dr. Audu. You can mute yourself and respond to Edgar now.
Okay, thank you very much, Ekigala. All right. Pastor Isaiah, thank you very much. First of all, you can have trauma and not realize it. There are underlying factors that could trigger that trauma to, resurface. And such, my answer to your question is you can have trauma and not realize it until the underlying, factors, resurface and it triggers it. Then you now identify. Some of these people tend to, realize that they have trauma when it is late, because they have begun to apply different type of coping mechanism to subdue it. And why would they not realize that they have it? They feel weak, they feel not functional, they feel, dizzy sometimes, they have palpitations, they feel, okay, these are part of the physical health issues that comes with it. But it is a presenting symptoms to a greater, if not careful, a greater trauma. So there are people who have trauma and they do not know about it. They walk about the streets without understanding or knowing that they have trauma. So they result in taking pills to, suppress what they feel in them, and they result in taking 1 bottle, 2 bottles of alcohol, or, tramadol, whatever. Before you know it, mental health issues set in. I think that answers your question.
All right, thank you very much there. I believe is what Echiga would understand there. Okay, let's take another question from, let's take a question from Kende. Actually, Kende has asked some other questions which I believe have been taken care of in your main presentation, but let's take this one from him. What message would you give to someone listening right now who feels overwhelmed, especially...
Sorry, I lost you at a point.
Oh, okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Go on.
Okay, this person, this kind is asking, what message would you give to someone listening right now who feels overwhelmed by circumstances of life and is at a crossroad or in deep confusion? How does okay, how does such an individual get out of his challenge at the moment without resorting to substances and other self-helps? Yeah, that's the question from him.
Okay. Like I said earlier in my conversation, I don't know if the network threw me out at that point. And these coping mechanisms can be negative and positive. For someone who is going through a predicament right now, your ability
I believe we're having an issue with Dr. Aldo's network there, right? Dr. Aldo, you may have to change your position. We're not hearing you at this point. Dr. Mohammed.
this kind
Okay,
of
we lost you.
situation that you are going through. So you must first of all network.
Okay, your network is fluctuating, Dr. Aldo.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
I hear you. You can go
Okay.
ahead now, please.
I said you must first of all engage the services of a professional counselor, not just anyhow counselor. You know, we have, career counselors in our schools. Some people, because you hear they are counselors, you go in for them to assist you. If you are not careful, that counselor is not trained to help you where it comes to mental health issue. They may likely re-traumatize you. We have the psychologists, we have the psychiatrists, but in the issue of mild situation, I believe you should first of all seek the help of a counselor, a professional counselor who can help you in the aspect of informed, trauma care, and also help you with some certain cognitive behavioral modification therapy that may be set in for you as part of your treatment plan. As such, you should have a support network, meaning that your family, your peer, and your community, you have somebody who is there whenever you call, you cry, you can lean on their shoulders, they can hear you, and also you have a role to play for yourself also. The role you need to play for yourself is to be mindful of the thoughts that comes into your head. So that is where I advise that you can use the grounding techniques to take off any form of negative thought that may come or arise in your thinking or your thought process. Then you can use the meditation, you can use breathing and grounding exercise. Sometimes you may decide to walk for a long distance. It's not because you are having a challenge of transportation, but that alone is a medicine on its own. Walking, doing exercise, and playing music are made to be very therapeutic to our body when we face some certain physical challenges. I think this will help, address the fact that you need to be attended to with urgency, and you can also reach out to me via my handle if you really want to get help. So you can have an intervention plan for you to help you overcome that stress, the psychological stress that you are in, and proper healthy coping mechanisms for you in order to survive properly. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much once again, Dr. Aldo. Let's take this one from Ezekiel. Ezekiel is saying thank you to our guest speaker for today. We appreciate your extensive presentation. Thank you. We like to, okay, no, okay. We ask, we check for medical checkup and test for some ailments. How do we check for trauma when it's not something we can actually feel or understand? Thank you. All right, please go ahead, Dr.
Okay. That is a very wonderful question. When you need to check for trauma, you don't take your blood sample to the lab and go and, check with machines. That is why we have the assessment tools, the screening instruments that are particularized. When you visit a professional, the professional having conversations with you will know what type of screening tool, what type of instruments he or she can give to you in order to fill them, which are internationally certified, and they are graded to know if you are at the risk of trauma, either acute trauma, chronic trauma, whatever class of trauma that you have. If you are at the risk of substance use disorder, a whole lot. The already standard procedure that have been laid down is there, but you cannot test, mental health issues using the blood sample and going to the lab. But we have, designed, instruments that are already there, like the DSM-5. We have there are too many. There are too many. The DSM-5 is there. That's the diagnostic manual is there. We have the ICES. We have a whole lot of them that are embedded in our day-to-day practice. And whenever we need to, we have the assist. Whenever we need to use them, we use them based on the content of information. We have the ASI, that's the Addiction Severity Index, the 5th edition, and there are a lot of them. The Beck Depression Inventory is there. Many of them are being designed to help individuals attain mental wellness through the presentation of symptoms that probably they may not know. As such, when they fill those forms, they answer the questions that have been presented to them. Then the professional now is the one to determine, is this person really traumatized? If yes, is he chronically traumatized? What level of trauma is this individual in currently? And then they now look for solution. Either could be through psychotherapy or medicated assisted therapy. Thank you very much.
All right, indeed, thank you very much. Dr. Mohammed Abubakar has been speaking with us for close to 2 hours now. Thank you for your time. Okay, let's take this one. The next one is from Abu. Abu is appreciating you and asking, in many African cultures, trauma and mental health are often misunderstood, just like someone spoke earlier, that is Pastor Daniel. Yes. How can individuals, families, and communities begin to talk openly about these issues so that people will not suffer in silence? How do we elevate this and overcome the challenge or stigma of talking about trauma and mental uh, health issues in our families and communities. All right, thank you. That's from Abu.
Thank you, Abubakar. And I want you to understand that until the day we begin to normalize the talk about mental health, just as we normalize talk, as we normalize the talk about disparities can never go. And for these disparities to go, it has to start from the family. When the family observe that there is an issue with an individual, they will not lock them inside the room or inside the toilet and begin to hide them up and down. No. When we begin to normalize the conversation about mental health, then we can now begin to see and open our eyes to solutions that are attached to it. We understand that Nigeria is, diversified. We have a diversified nature in Nigeria. What is obtainable in the north is not obtainable in the south. Now, cultural influence has to do with stigmatization. And some of the cultures or the subcultures that are in some culture, the most popular culture have subcultures in them. Until we begin to have the interpretations of, what stigma is, what mental health is, and what, trauma is in our local languages and begin to normalize it, then substance abuse can never be reduced. Take this. Until people understand, we all speak English, but we have our mother tongue where we understand when they say come, we interpret it. Like in Yoruba now, when you say mabo and you convert that statement mabo into another word, it means a lot to someone. Wajeun means a lot to someone. Now, if you as a Hausa man can hear kadena shaye-shaye, ga illan shaye-shaye, then you are trying to explain to that individual, stop drinking or stop taking substances, and these are the consequences. But when you speak that English, that grammar, that individual will not even see it. He will see that you are speaking big language. You are speaking that English that, he doesn't even understand, even when he hears you. So we must, cascade this issue into the grassroots, not only cascading it in terms of implementation, we must cascade it in terms of reaching out based on the information that should be able to help people attain wholeness. Mental health issue, substance abuse issue, and trauma are an whole. You cannot classify it as wholeness. But when an individual like you and I that are here, we are classified to be whole because in the absence of, we are absent of mental ill health. We do not have any condition in us, both physical and mentally. So when we are able to cascade this, information into the grassroots, you can hear people tell themselves more about substance use, tell themselves about the implication of substance use, then you will have results-oriented, pursuit that will also bring people out of stigma from the family level and from the community level. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much there, Dr. Mohammed Audu, for your intervention there. Let's take the next one from Haruna. Haruna is referring to, okay, let me just read straight. Thank you very much, Dr. Mohammed. You did say earlier about faith-based intervention and how this can be of help when approaching the issue of trauma and mental health. How should one do this as a standalone or along with other medical or counseling interventions? Can one approach faith-based leaders for these interventions without necessarily resorting to clinics where you have to make payments to be attended to? This is because of the situation in the country. All right, thank you very much, dear Haruna. Okay, I believe Dr. Audu understands that. Dr. Audu, did you get Haruna?
Yes, I got his question.
Okay. Okay.
Now, when you want to eat your food, you literally keep water by your side. Don't we? So, in the aspect of infusing faith-based therapy into issues of mental health, we must first of all know that the aspect of prioritizing the professional angle should be number one. We must prioritize the professionals to know what actually is wrong with an individual. In as much as we recognize that we are in an African context and some issues can be spiritual, you can also attack it spiritually, but they should go simultaneously. While you are taking your therapy, you are taking your medicated assisted therapy, you are also visiting your imam for prayers, guidance, and also advising you to align yourself with the medications, the therapy that you are receiving. That will work effectively on you. You cannot rule out the place of God. We are all believers. We have faith in God. And for us, whatever we do, we put God first. So that does not mean that you now say, okay, my imam, my pastor has said this. A lot of people have missed it. And today they are on the streets. A lot of people have missed it. And today they are in the psychiatry home because they have given in total submission to the help of their spiritual fathers and spiritual mothers. And they neglected the place for, the use of professionals in the sense of, responding to their emergencies. So you cannot do it, out of context. You should do it within, context. I think this should answer your question. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. As we begin to wrap up now, let's take just one more question. I don't think there's anybody waiting to ask. Okay, so let's just take this last one from, let me just quickly go through to see which one. Those are many people there. Exactly to increase the risk of use. From can be effective integrated into mainstream care systems. Would they require from them? Okay, let's take this one from Omoba Adekunbi. Okay, let's take this one from Omoba Adekunbi. Do societal and system factors, trauma and social abuse and okay, I think Omoba Adekunbi is asking two questions, but let me just read one of them because of our time. Do societal and systemic factors like poverty, racism, play a more significant role in the development of trauma and substance abuse than individual factors? And if so, how can this be addressed? I suspect this must have been already addressed. But then, Dr. Audu, you can walk us through briefly and then wrap it up with your closing remarks. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Femi. Racism, poverty, yes, they are a factor to driving substance abuse into some segment of the society. If you look at the Western world today, many of these substances are manufactured over there and are brought into Nigeria. And some of our, citizens are trained on how to manufacture this deadly, substance in order to keep the, country into perpetual pain and even in destruction. Poverty have been weaponized by the Western, or the Europeans, that today you could see that even when we have issues in the Northeast, the Northwest, and part of the North Central, if you go into those localities, you will discover that drug or substance have been so prevalent in these communities. I can give you a story about this, to sum this, question together. A young man was given 20,000, 50,000 naira and was bought a bike just to give in the information of the security architecture of his village to some group of bandits, and was bought. He told them what he needed. He told them the type of substance he wants and the amount of money and a brand new bike. And the bandits came into their village and cleared almost everybody. 2 days after, the young man was seen on top of a brand new bike. And that was when the community, those ones who escaped, now began to interrogate him. They caught him and began to interrogate him, sent him to the police. Where did you get money? That was how we now got to understand how he sold the community for substance, for bike, and for 50,000 naira. So, if for any reason we know that substance is being used to divide some certain, society because of some kind of, potentials that are within that environment. As such, can you, by any means, give out your brothers because of substance? You can see how substance can make one to become ridiculed. One can go in for a morsel of a crumb of anything just to get substance. And lastly, as I wind up on this, cravings is a very, deadly disease that happens to people who happen to go into substance. Cravings is a very terrible, disease of the brain. We say substance use is a disease of the brain. When you do not have this disease, you will not be testing for it. As such, we encourage people that they should not go into substance. If you have any issue psychological issue, look for a counselor, look for a therapist. Psychiatric hospital, you mustn't be mad to even access a psychiatric hospital. That a lot of people do not know. They think by the time they see you pass through the gate of psychiatry, you are mad. Okay, let's be mad so that you think I am mad, so that I can get my wellness. So you must prioritize your mental health. It is your responsibility. It is not any other person's responsibility to prioritize your mental health for you. With this, I thank you very much.
All right, we thank you very much to there, Dr. Mohammed Abubakar. Dr. Mohammed Abubakar is a mentor. Sorry, Dr. Mohammed Audu. I don't know where Abubakar is coming from now this afternoon. All right, thank you very much there, Dr. Mohammed Audu. Dr. Mohammed Audu is a mental health counselor who has those people joining us via our YouTube channel and our Facebook page. Thank you for being part of the conversation today. And for everyone that has joined across the globe, thank you. And for those that will be listening to this even after this session, please share with others. Thank you. Behind the scenes, Rita, Francis, Dele, Victor, Blessing, Mahmoud, Kumbi, Philemon, Sini, Neta, Ebun, Ini, and the rest of you guys. I appreciate your support here. Thank you very much for all that we do together. Until we come your way again next week, please keep safe and let's ensure that we are out of harm's way, and then we do the right thing. We avoid
if anybody
those
give
things,
you
those
banana,
momentary pleasures that we may live to regret all the days of our lives later. And key on top of that is the issue of substance abuse. Please, let's try and avoid that. Yes, it's thank God it's Friday, but then let's keep our minds ahead, well intact and safe from harm's way. For more information about the activities of the agency, you can visit our website, ndla.gov.ng. You can also check on our social media handles. That's at NDLA01 on Facebook, NDLA_Nigeria on TikTok, X, and Instagram. Thank you once again for being part of our conversation today. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye from here.
if anybody giving you banana, if sugar daddy giving you cocaine, give you skunk, give you loud, tell you say now one Chance, now so you take start hey, what's in my eyes don't see. Simba what you cool, Simba no be say, I know they hear when them say make I stop. I know fit stop. I swear I want to stop. Somebody help me stop. If anybody giving you banana, sky, hey, whether na school she Simba, what you cool, Simba. If anybody giving you banana, sky, what you cool, Simba. If sugar daddy giving you cool.